Hello there, this is Jeff Erdman, EDS Inc. Shandon, and we've got another video for you today. We're going to be starting to prepare this machine here. This is a Lincoln Square Wave TIG 300. Now I don't have, well, I've got the TIG on it, but I don't have my arc welder set up for it. The wheels are failing on it. It's hard to roll this thing around, and it's a heavy baby. That's why they have an eye bolt here to lift this thing, because it is a monster. And so I'm going to start going through. We're going to set up our arc welder. I've got the my Stinger here. Got some clamps. Got my cord. So I'm getting all ready to set this up so I can use it as an arc welder. Now I don't have my power set up yet. I'm waiting for a breaker switch to come in, and then I have to set up some outlets in my walls for this particular welder because she pulls quite a few amps. So they want you to have an 80 amp breaker for this particular unit, and so I've got one of those on order. I should have that in here hopefully within a couple of days. The electrical outfit that I'm dealing with says that they have it stocked here in California, so we should have that here within a couple of days. And then the outlets and the plug. They currently have a 50 amp plug on this, and so I'm going to change that out to a little bit better rating for this welder, and set up the cord, all that sort of thing, and set up the tank and the my regulator on my tank, so that we're all ready. So when I'm able to get those outlets in, we can plug and play. We can go to work. I do have, before I can use the TIG though, I will have to go back through and purge out the water cooler, and I'm concerned about that. This was sitting up in a business for some time. I understand they get a lot of garbage in them, and you should circulate all that stuff out. So I'll have to do that as well. I don't think we'll do that in this video, but we will put on these other items. So let's get with it. First I'll take you a look-see at this machine, and then we'll go ahead and start to work on it. So as mentioned, this is a Lincoln arc welder. It's a Square Wave TIG 300, and it has all the dowels and buttons of a modern unit. It has the pre-flow, your spot, your pulse, crater fill. It has you know, your switches for stick or for TIG. Just about all the things that a modern one would have, except this is a monster. This thing weighs probably well over 1,000 pounds. Monster thing. But we've got problems here. I'm going to take you around and show you these wheels. They're all breaking apart, and this one here is. See if I can get a shot of that. There we go. You can see that one's really just kind of coming apart. So it has a flat spot on it. And so we want to replace those. And then we want to hook up all our cables and that sort of thing. So the cables hook up in here. This is my positive here. The TIG is already set up to it. But what I want to be able to do is put in a, hang on for a second, I'll grab it. anyway, this will be a quick connect. So I'll hook this up to it, and then I'll just be able to plug my lead for my arc welder in there. The ground is already hooked up here to this lead here, so I don't have to worry about doing that. It's really kind of a cool ground. It's a magnetic ground. That's this here. So you can just pull that on and off your piece. Really kind of a cool setup. So I'll probably cut the wire back and reconnect this and the whole 9 yards later on. Right now I think that's just fine the way it is. So, but you can see we've got a nice water cooler in the back here. But I really should purge that out before I use the TIG. Make sure that it's flowing properly and that it's flowing up to the gun. So we'll be doing that as well. So anyway, so that's kind of my plan. I've got these wheels here. They tell me that these are about a 900-pound capacity per wheel. So I think that will do it. If we once we put 4 wheels on here, that should take care of that problem for me with the flat tires. So what I'll do is I'll set this up. We'll start pulling things apart, and I'll bring you in as we do each item. Okay, what I have to do is pull this bolt loose and put in my quick disconnect for my arc welder. So we'll go ahead and we'll pull this off. You're probably going to want this about like that. I'm thinking that would make for an easiest. You don't want it straight up or down, you won't be able to grab it. So I think we'll have it out like this, and I mean most everything comes out through the bottom, but I'm not going to bother with that. This is so that you don't yank a cable out, destroying the cable. So they run everything down through here and then loop it around, so that if somebody yanks on one of the cords, it doesn't rip it out of the fittings here. But I don't think we need that with this. That'll make my job a whole lot easier, because then I can take this and put my cable on the other end of it and just stick it right in there, see? And I've got my cord hooked up. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that this angle is probably going to be the best angle for me. Let me see if that door will come down on it. Yeah, the door comes down. So as long as we can get the door down, then we're good. So let me go ahead and I'll set up and we'll put the cord on this unit here. Okay, so I have my Radnor 300 amp electrode holder, and we've got it all apart here. Here's the main body, and this is your handle that you'll hold on to. They have a real nice grip to them. I like the feel of it. They say it's a knockoff of somebody else's. I don't know whose setup it is, but at any rate, it's made by Radnor, or sold by Radnor. And so what we're going to do, we've got the ferrule on this end of the cord, and we're just going to stick the cover on. Then we're going to take this up and we're going to set that ferrule right here. It's a little bit tight. Let's see if we can't get it in there. Well, you know, it'd do me really good. I'm sure you can't see it, but I've got my set screw all the way in. So that's not going to let me do much of anything there. So we'll have to pull that out. Okay, that's looking good. Okay, so now my set screw's out, so now I can actually put that furled in. Okay, good. Now we'll tighten this puppy. Okay. Slide this up. Tighten this back on. And our electrode holder is on. It's got a real strong clamping gear there, so we're all set to go with this. Now we just have to put the other end on. So we'll do the same thing here. We'll take this, and these things are all, it's hard to see, but depending upon the size of wire that you have, I have 1/0, so that fits right through here, no problem. If you have 3/0, then you want to cut this right about right here. If you have 4/0, then you cut it up here. We elected to use 1/0. We don't run that much heavy arc through this thing. Occasionally we'll be welding maybe 3/8 steel or something like that, but typically we don't really weld really heavy materials, but this thing has that capacity if we need it. And that's all it takes. She's all ready to weld. So I've got 50 feet of cord here, so I can have the welder over in one spot and weld all the way at the other end of my shop if I wanted to. So that's kind of a handy deal. So let's go ahead and we'll put this on the rack, then we'll get to our next little job. Okay, so the next thing that I have to do is pull these wheels off and put the new wheels on. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, I'm going to bring the forklift underneath it, lift it up, get these things about chest high so it's easy to work on, and then we'll pull them off and put the new ones on. You can see this is pretty torn up. All the outside shell of this thing is completely gone. So I'll get a couple of crescent wrenches and we'll pop this off and see if the new one goes on. I might have to clean things up on my new wheels, I'm not sure. We'll see. It looks like it's 13/16. It's 3/4. Okay. Let me grab my crescent wrench. This side. Suppose I'll find out in a second. Now that's interesting. I've never seen a wheel with one of these. It has a little Zerk fitting here, and they've drilled this bolt out and then put another hole in the center so that it can grease the bearing on that wheel. Kind of an interesting idea. I've never seen one like that before. Usually they're a sealed bearing in there. They put a sleeve on there and they're good. So let's see what we got. Well, this is our sleeve here. And what do we got here? I think I have a problem, gentlemen. Looks to me like I have a problem in River City. Because I didn't account for the bolt size. This bolt's much bigger than the previous bolt. Let's see if we've got something that'll work. This isn't long enough. So let's see what we can do here. Well, I'm going to take a break while I think this out, guys. Okay, I'm back with you. When I initially got these wheels, I was looking for, I'll get down here so you can see me. When I was initially getting these wheels, I was looking for a 5-inch wheel. I just glanced down at them. I could see that they were 5 inches, and so I was looking for a 5-inch wheel. I never thought of the size of the arbor, if you will, the shaft, the axle. There we go, right word for wheels. Never thought about the axle, and so these have a smaller diameter. So now I have a conundrum. Well, what I did is, it's about 8:30 in the evening. I went through all my junk, couldn't find anything. And so what I had to do is run down to the local Lowe's store. Now, you all know Lowe's stores. They're not like the old-fashioned hardware stores that had just about everything you can imagine. They have what they're going to sell the fastest. So they don't have shoulder bolts. They don't have anything that you could really jury rig something with. So I had to just go ahead and I got these grade 8 bolts, and then I got some, oh shoot, I've got this pulled out. I got these little sleeves, cut them down to make up for the diameter that I lost, and so now I'm going to put this back on. So what I had to do here, because of the way this goes in, so I put that bolt over here, put this sleeve in over here, put that all the way in there. Then I had to get a 5/8 washer and shove that on. Then I figured, well, I'll go ahead and I'll put a 3/8 washer on. And then I've got a nut to go on after that. Okay? So we'll go ahead and we'll fasten that on, and that should, that pretty much centers the wheel in the socket there. Let's see, I think both of those are 9/16, and wouldn't you know it, I don't have a 9/16 lock-in wrench in here. Hang on for a second, I'll go grab a wrench. Okay. Yeah, that is 9/16. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll use this adjustable wrench to tighten this side. So then I'll just take this and fasten it down tight. Nice if I'd found another 9/16, but I couldn't find one anywhere. Well, there's no sideways. The wheel turns perfectly. So that'll be our solution. Now move on to the next wheel. I'll get you refocused and we'll pull this next one off and put another one on. back to back, so that sleeve helped. And that takes care of that little issue. Oh wow, what a difference. Yeah. This thing can spin, it can do whatever I want it to do. Yeah, before you couldn't hardly move this thing. Look at that. Look at that. Nice. Nice. Now I could get this around to anywhere in my shop. Now this thing is so stinking heavy. Those other wheels with those flat spots, you couldn't hardly move it. It was all you could do to pull it out. So we got ourselves a more mobile unit. Now, what I'm going to do, this is my foot pedal over here. I'm going to go get our tank and put our tank up where it belongs. And then we'll put our regulator on the tank. And we'll call her a deal tonight. Well, folks, I may have to get myself a manual out and find out where in the world I'm supposed to run my gas to. I thought it'd be a pretty easy deal. Just find it right here. Might be on the front panel and I'm just not looking at it. Oh, I see it. Oh, Lord. Oh, boy, they make it really convenient for you, don't they? See, this was room to... Yeah, that's my gun. And of course, nothing's labeled here, folks. I'm going to assume it's the one on the far right because just doesn't make sense to me here. One goes to my gun. Where's this one go? That's my gas right there. Oh no, it's not. That's water. That's water in. Water up to my gun. So the gas has to be up here. I'll have to look at the docks, guys. Just don't know. Just don't know. I think I guess. I may have to get a little bit longer line because if this goes to the front, this is a big machine. It's a long ways around. I want to show a few other things to you guys. I've made some progress in the shop, so I'll go ahead and show this to you. Wait, this is where my machine shop's going to be as soon as I get it all done. Still no power over on this wall, no power on that wall, but look at this. I brought in the power, a Rube Goldberg. It was originally fastened right above here, and the power came in right about here somewhere. And I just disconnected it, and I lifted that, loosened these, I don't know if you can see it up there, but I loosened the screws on the coupling up there on my conduit, and took that whole thing and lifted it straight up and put a down feed on it up there in that corner and brought it down the wall to my machine. So we got power now. So, and as you can see, I went ahead and put a light in here. I got a switch here and a 110 outlet. I'm going to the right of that power, I'm going to run out another 110 outlet to run my DRO. But we've still got a lot to go yet. I've got to fix you can see this is my reader for my DRO, and it's a piece of junk. It's all beat up. So that came off of this side here. So I don't know if it was the reader or if it was that scale. I didn't care. I'm pulling the whole thing off and putting a new one on. And then once I get this up and going, my lathe is the next one. I need to get that old Monarch running. And you might wonder, what am I going to do with all this stuff? Well, I'll find a place for it. But one of the things I've already kind of determined, I'm looking for some steel right now. In fact, that's what I went up to that auction for the other day. I bid on a bunch of steel. I'd lost though. But I'll keep looking, and I'll find some at a reasonable cost. And I'm going to make a loft right up here. I'm going to come out about 8 foot from that wall and make it all out of I-beam, and then I'm going to put all my grinding stuff up there except for the surface grinder, so that I keep the dust kind of up in that area. I'll put a dust collection system in and up there for that, and that way I'll have a little bit more room, because those grinders all take room. I've got 3 massive grinders, all of them sporting 2-inch wheels, and they take up quite a bit of space, and I want to have workspace down here, so that'll be I think will solve some of my space issues. And then this here, all the tooling and stuff that's on here is going to go into cabinets, or it's going to go up on the wall, and that box will be done away with completely. Most of my cutters are up in here, which I'll probably keep them in something like this. I doubt if I'm going to put them in drawers, but I want to have them up behind the mill rather than here. And the collets, I'll probably make a collet rack on the machine so that they're easily accessible. Everything else I'll probably put back on the back wall. So anyway, all these things too will have a place. When I'm all done, I'll have shelves over here, and this wall that all this stuff is against will be a stairway up to my loft. So this is where we have all our door hardware up there, and we barely have headroom up there actually down at that end anyway. So that's what we have planned. Thanks again for watching. Thanks for putting up with my mess.